Hey y'all, I'm Kelli Hayes Smith, and this is the Social Takeoff Podcast. This is where travel advisors come for marketing advice that actually makes sense. Not trends, not noise, just real, clear thinking, strong perspective, and building a business that actually works for you. Let's get ready for takeoff. Hey guys, and happy Tuesday. It is a cold Tuesday here. We were not supposed to get snow. We woke up to snow. My kid is now out of school. So chaos could ensue because I'm the only adult here. And chaos could ensue because I don't know what he's going to yell about next, except I'm pretty sure it'll be about food. So hopefully this is not choppy because I am super excited to record this episode. I am super excited to share this with you because it's something I've personally been working on a long time, because we are rolling out a framework that I have been building behind the scenes, and I cannot wait to share it with you. So if you follow me on Instagram, it is no secret that I am all up in the business of how are you positioning yourself? Are you positioning yourself as helpful, or are you positioning yourself as the expert and the authority? Are you positioning yourself as free, or are you positioning yourself as a professional? Are you positioning yourself as how are you showing up in the world? And I had a DM a couple weeks ago that said something to the effect of, can you explain to me how positioning and marketing, like how my positioning matters in my marketing? And I thought that's a really interesting concept to ask about. And that's kind of started this whole idea, because I understand that this is complicated, and I'm by no means a marketing major with any type of degree anywhere. I just started diving in and making a lot of mistakes and learning from them and growing and going forward. And so as I go through this, I had to make it simple enough for me to understand and put it into real world stuff. And so I just started doing a lot of research and to try to answer this question, because if you know me, you know that when you DM me, I'm going to answer your question, because that's really important to me. And so all that to say, this is what came out of that. So thank you so much for that DM, because I think this is going to be really good. So what ends up happening is a lot of travel advisors are in my DMs on a regular basis, and they're talking about how they need better marketing. And because marketing is the part we pay attention to. We've talked about this before. Marketing are the vanity metrics, right? So marketing is where you're visible. When you are marketing yourself, you're becoming more and more visible. And so it's your visibility. When you go to a trade show, it's a wide net. The goal would be that it's a wide net, right? Maybe hundreds, thousands of people. You're not expecting 100% conversion rate and that everybody who walks through those doors is going to become a client. And so marketing is visibility. It's kind of that wide net casting, right? It's how you get seen. Positioning is how you build trust. Positioning is as you're building trust. Then the authority is the perception of you. So marketing means people are going to see you. So whatever I'm creating, wherever I'm showing up, that is the marketing. I'm trying to get eyeballs, right? But then I may get a bunch of eyeballs, but my positioning builds trust with those eyeballs, and my authority is the perception. That is how they say they need me. And all of this is we're going to get into all of it, because I'm breaking this down into a smaller bite-sized pieces. But what I find is advisors have one or the other. They've cracked the code to marketing, and they're able to get a bunch of eyeballs, whether they're at a bunch of trade shows, or they are at they've got a ton of followers, or they've got a lot of engagement on their socials, a huge Facebook group, or they have positioning. These are the ones who are in my questions asking me, okay, in my DMs asking me. Or they have positioning. They're really, really good at speaking directly to their ideal client, but they're not getting the visibility they need to turn that over. Because the truth is, You can go viral and make no sales. Trust me, I know, I've done it. And you can have expertise. You can be showing great content and still be invisible. So the key about this is about how we put all of these pieces together to build this. And so we are going to talk through the FAME framework. Yes, FAME. That is what I'm going to call this. And really, this is all about how you put these pieces together: marketing, positioning, and authority. Put them together so that you can actually create content and have a strategy that converts people. That's really the goal. So if we start looking at the FAME framework, the first letter is F. This is find your person. There are the endless podcasts about ideal client. There are endless Instagram pieces about ideal client on my content, like personally in this podcast and on my Instagram, because it is so important. Without your ideal client, without you writing out exactly what that ideal client is, you can do nothing else. It has to be the first letter. It has to be the first thing you do. It should be the first thing you do in your business. But if you did not do that in your business way back when you started it, you are doing it today, y'all. Today. This is the most important thing that you can do. Find your person. You have to get specific. This is not just families. This is not anyone who wants to travel. That gives me the heebie-jeebies, because I hear that all the time. My ideal client are people who like to travel. No. You need to really get specific. And I'm not talking about specific like given a name and a coffee order and a car they drive. I am talking about getting specific about their season of life. What type of traveler are there? What is their emotional state? What are they worried most about? What are their common problems when it comes to travel, but also with their season of life? What are the current obstacles in their life around travel? Is it budget? Is it PTO? Is it time to actually put it together and research and plan? What are their common problems? Stop worrying about common coffee orders and worry about common problems. You've heard me say this before. But what type of traveler are they? The season of life is going to dictate so much more than everything. So really outlining what that looks like. Instead of like giving this a very specific character, I want you to set the scene of their life, right? I don't care what their name is or what the color of their hair is or what kind of car they drive, but what does their day look like? When are they on social media? Are they on social media in the mornings before kids wake up? And then at night after kids are in bed? Are they young professionals and they're on social media during dinner? What does that look like? When are they doing things? What does their day-to-day look like? That's the part that I really want you to understand. When you find your person, those are the things that you are going to become really, really clear. And the idea of this is that if you're for everyone, you're optional. Expedia is for everyone. Booking.com is for everyone. Costco and Sam's are for everyone. It's not really a specialized service because it's a blanket service. So what makes you a specialized service is that you are for a particular client. I know so many advisors are scared by this because they think if they start to say and niche down on who they're talking to, they think they're going to eliminate too many people. But it is absolutely the opposite, I promise you. So really focus. There was a time in my life where I was like, I can't teach social media just to travel agents. There's not a business for that. Flash forward, there is. I was wrong. Learn from my mistake. But when you become specific, you become necessary. You are no longer optional. If it's a blanket, then you're no different than anybody else. But if you were specifically talking to them, if you specifically understand their needs, if you specifically make them feel seen and heard and understood, if you specifically plan for their season of life and the things that they are struggling with right now, you are necessary because you get that. And that is so important. So, your examples on this can be really, you have to write this. This is not something I can give you like, here's 5 archetypes. I'm listening to a book right now by Christina Lauren, and I'm in the real early stages of it, and she's talking about how she's getting ready to go on a dating show, and she wants them to, she's a romance writer, and she wants them to cast people for her to date on this romance show that follow tropes from romance novels, and y'all know I love a good romance. And she's like got the archetypes, right, that she wants, like the hot nerd and the silver fox that's a dad, so the dad trope, and like she's even got vampire in there for a vampire trope, all of those things, right? I can't give you archetypes and then all of these people are going to fit out. You get to write that. This is your story, so you write your trope. Oh, I did not see this going here. You write your trope. What does that look like? What does this story look like? And this is going to change the game in the way that you're able to create content. So find your person. Next, we have to articulate the problem. We have to talk about it. We can't just be on 5 tips for and destination-based content. It can't just all be about the thing you don't sell, because FYI, you don't sell vacations. They don't want vacations. They want a feeling. You don't sell them anyway. You sell a service. And so we have to move past this 5 tips for this, 5 tips for that. Here's, facts that they can Google in AI. We have to really move past that. We have to get past the things that are just like visible and to the things that are emotional. And problems are emotional. What are their problems? What are their pain points? And I need you to think bigger than just pain points in travel. Yes, that's part of it, right? Like, I'm overwhelmed. We've never left the country before and we want to go to Europe. So I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what that looks like. That's obviously a travel pain point. But you also, let's say that this is going to be a young family's first time leaving the country. They also have season of life like obstacles here, right? Cheerleading practice and dance practice and football practice, and it's baseball season and parent-teacher conferences and all these things, and I don't have time to research. And when I'm done at night, I just want to watch TikTok videos or read my romance novels and not have to research this. That's a season of life obstacle. And that's why find your person has to be first, because you're outlining that. Now we have to get really, really good about talking about those pain points for that particular person, right? And that means I have to talk about how I fix those. So let's say that marketing is like 5 tips for planning your Disney vacation. That's marketing because it could go viral. There's a huge Disney subcult on social media, right? 5 tips for planning Disney could go viral, but that's marketing. That's looking for quantity. That's great. But if you don't have any kind of positioning to back that up, you're not going to get anywhere. And so positioning is actually like 5 things I do to prevent Disney burnout for my clients. Because now I'm talking about, number 1, pre-trip, right? I'm talking about like the planning, the burnout of planning, but also I'm talking about what I do in my authority, in my expertise, not just here's some things I know that you could also find on YouTube, Google, and Pinterest, but that you are preventing it for your clients, and here's how. And it really becomes a distinction of the emotion behind it and the problem you're solving. So Disney burnout with all of the restaurants and all of the resorts and all of the parks and all of the things to keep up with and all of that. The burnout is real. That you can feel that. But 5 tips for planning Disney doesn't feel like anything. And it doesn't position you as the guide or the expert. So when someone sees that, they should think to themselves, this is exactly what I've been worried about. How do I let them help me do this? That is the goal, and they're building that trust. Trust starts forming with you because you've said something that you know is a pain point for them. To your ideal client, to your person, you have said something that you know is going to click with them. They see that you see them, that you hear them, that you understand them, and that starts to form a bond. So then we have to market with intention. So we do have to have visibility. Now, we don't need to go viral. Like this is kind of a thing for me. This is a soapbox. I'm trying not to get on a soapbox because I'm trying to keep this episode relatively contained. But there is a lot of people out there, even in the travel industry, trying to teach you to go viral. And that's casting the wide net. That's all visibility. But if you don't have any positioning, we're not taking that visibility and capitalizing on it. And so this is market with intention, is all about visibility that is reinforcing your positioning. Okay. You can build marketing on all the same things you can build positioning on. It's all about how you shape it. So marketing can be reels, carousels, hooks, lead magnets, blogs, SEO, all of the things. But visibility without positioning is just loud. And you've heard me talk a lot about loud versus clear marketing. We want to be extremely clear. That's what the FAME framework is all about. We are going to be clear. We are getting visibility with intention. If I am getting visibility with intention, if I'm being clear over loud, I don't need the thousands upon thousands of views to convert at like a 0.5% rate. Because if I am pulling in the right eyeballs and I'm positioning myself to be their expert and showcasing why I'm not optional but necessary, now I'm going to convert at a much higher rate. Therefore, I don't need to go chase a bunch of views, right? So this looks like, when you're doing this, we can have the same top 5 resorts in Cancun, okay? That could be turned around to say, here's 5 of my favorite Cancun resorts that won't work for you if you want XYZ. It's the same type of post. I'm still talking about 5 resorts in Cancun, but 5 resorts in Cancun that won't work for you if, or this Cancun resort won't work for you if, and then you go through the first one and it's like, it won't work for you if you want a swimmable beach. It won't work for you if you want blah, 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 blah. And showcasing how you help do that. The goal with this is to qualify you as the expert. It is to help you get that visibility, because number one, polarizing and those drama, negative hooks, those are really hitting on social media right now. But the goal with this is really to attract with the marketing, because we're still using the buzzwords of Cancun. We're still doing things like that, but we are positioning ourselves as the expert and qualifying ourselves, which makes the huge difference. Same thing with, here are 5 of my best cruise packing tips. Instead of saying that, here are the 5 things first-time cruisers always forget. It's the same thing, but I'm being very much more specific in the way that I am attracting it, and it's showcasing that my knowledge. I can Google cruise packing tips, but this is a more discernment, and that's the goal. And last but not least is E, and this is establishing authority. This is where your conversion happens. This is the step. You have done all the things to set it up. You've got finding your person, you have articulating the problem, i.e. outlining their pain points. You are marketing with intention. So you are creating and doing everything you can to create, but you're being very specific in how you talk to them. And now you have to establish that authority, because here's the thing. This is probably, in my opinion, where I see people get it wrong the most, because we think that authority means professional, and then turn that into professional means polished, or I don't here I am, but that you can't flub a word, that you can't say y'all, that if it's not perfect, if your hair's not perfectly done and your makeup's not on, your house ain't clean, like that you can't show up because that's not professional. But authority isn't about that. Okay. Authority is down to earth connection with confidence. It is about showcasing a perspective, whether you are folding laundry or on a walk or sitting behind a computer. It is giving clarity to people, to your person. It is giving clarity to your person, no matter what you're doing. If it's reading a book, listening to an album, or making sourdough bread, it is showing up with confidence, no matter what you're doing. It is being on the computer in the early morning hours while you're still in pajamas with your eye patches on, talking about how you're helping someone who had a flight into Puerto Vallarta today, right? Those are the things that's showing up with confidence. And it's also saying what you believe and stopping this idea that you got to tote the line, right? This idea that we're not going to go out and talk. I will not now or ever promote being negative about anyone, but opinions are okay. We can, contrary to popular belief in the world today, you can share an opinion without being inherently ugly about things. So if you don't love a certain brand or a certain cruise line, don't talk about them. But an opinion could be, here's why I would always choose this ship over this ship for this traveler. That's an opinion. It's the idea that here's the one Disney restaurant everybody else wants a reservation at that I tell my clients to skip. It's not negative, but you're not being so neutral that you're useless. I don't know how else to say that, but you have to show how you think and how you make decisions, and that you are going to give them guidance. And when you can't take a stand on one thing, again, I'm not negatively, but that you can't take a stand on something, very easily you get left behind because people want to know those things. And this is where authority will turn your followers into buyers, because they start to see how you think, how you make decisions. They start to understand that your opinion is based on research and boots on the ground and all of these pieces, and they trust what you say to them. They also see that you're not making the same decision for everybody. Like, I have one blanket opinion on everything, and this is how I do it. No, you're showcasing that it's not one size fits all, that it is very one of a kind, that you are customizing individual things for individual people. That is the authority. I don't know just one thing. Okay, example, God, my son will never listen to this, so it's okay. But my 19-year-old, when he first started driving, he doesn't do it as bad now, but I'm not going to tell you he never does this. When he first started driving, no matter where he went, this was his starting point, right? Home. Home was his starting point. So he would drive wherever he was going to drive on the other side of town. And instead of going the easy way from one side of town to the other, he would come back here because he knew how to get there from here, right? I did have a point to this. Oh, it's not that you only know one way to get there. You don't just know one way about each destination that you're going to. You get there based on situations for that individual client, and you have to highlight that because you have a different perspective based on who you're talking to. That is the part we highlight, not basic helpful tips, right? Why are we doing that? It's why on my Instagram content, I'll give you hooks. Today's reel are hooks. But we talked about on Monday on the carousel that clients don't want a vacation, they want a feeling. And so I'm backing the hooks up with the information we talked about on Monday, right? I want to give you tangible help for things, but I want you to understand the strategy and the thinking behind me saying that. And that's why I want you to pair all of these pieces together. You can do tips, but put more perspective in your tips than just generic. And the more specific you can talk to somebody, the more specific they get. So when you leave one of these pieces of this framework out, you get marketing without positioning, okay? That is high engagement, low sales, people asking for free advice, people price shopping you. You're interesting, but not necessary, okay? When you have positioning without marketing, your niche, your expertise, your is clear, but you don't have visibility. So this is where you can't scale. Authority without visibility doesn't scale. So what the big takeaway for you is: marketing gets you seen, positioning gets you trusted, authority gets you chosen. And together, that's how you build a business that's not just predictable, but that's growing. And I know what's going to happen because I've set these pieces in action. And so when you do this, and we're going to go over it one more time. So these are the 4 pieces. Find your person, articulate the problem, market with intention, and establish authority. When you do those 4 pieces, that's fame. When you do those 4 pieces, you put those together, you're going to build a business that's predictable and scaling. And that's the entire goal. So here are your action steps. These are your homework pieces because you know I can't do it without doing homework. Define who you actually serve. I want y'all to come in to my DMs and I want to know this one right here. Okay? The real problem you solve. Those 2. And then number 3 says audit your last 10 posts. Do they reinforce this or are they random? Are you following the fame framework in your content right now? Let's go check that out. Come in my DMs. Let's talk about it. I want you to stop chasing the social fame and I want you to build fame. Okay. I want you to stop chasing those visibility, those numbers, that viral, and really focus on the fame by finding your person, talking about their pain problems, articulating the problem, marketing with intentionality, and that expertise, right? Establishing authority. So this is how you're going to actually be able to go from just visible or just clear, but actually booked. Okay? All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did talking about it. This has been so much fun to research and build out. And I cannot wait to hear what you think. So, you know the drill. You got your assignments. And I'll see y'all back here again next Tuesday. Same bat channel, same bat place. Have a great week, y'all. Bye. If this episode helped you think differently, that's the whole point. You can find more support inside Wonderlust Campus or come hang out with me on Instagram. Thanks for spending time with me. I'll see y'all next week.